What's going on, everyone? There was some very disheartening news this past week, and that was that Amazon made the decision to delay Lost Ark until early 2022. Yeah, many of you have been, coming in asking me for my thoughts on it, and at the time I addressed it pretty straightforward, and I'm not happy about it overall. I mean, I really wanted to play this game sooner rather than later, and it is really unfortunate that um they chose to delay it. And for me personally, and I can't speak for everybody, but I think a lot of the anger and frustration that a lot of us feel around this delay um, isn't even necessarily the delay itself. It's how we got to the point of the delay. um, I mean, if you're just upset about the delay because it's a delay, then that's your prerogative. But I mean, this game, we didn't even know this game was coming to our country until you know late last year, and this game still wouldn't be coming to the U.S. and EU if Amazon wasn't publishing it. Like, I mean, we're already 3 years delayed on its release compared to KR. So I mean, a couple more months isn't going to kill us, but I think to me a big part of it is we went through the alpha in June, and from the end of June all the way up until last week, there was pretty much no communication about what was going on with the development and where they were in the process with everything. It was always stay tuned for more, stay tuned for more, beta soon, beta soon. Check back in on our socials to stay tuned on when the beta is. Beta's coming soon. And that was it. That was all we got. And then alongside that, you had the slow buildup of them over here, releasing all of these, classes with their abilities and showing them off. And you're thinking, okay, hey, they've shown all the classes and their abilities. Surely beta's coming soon, right? They've shown them all. Everybody knows what to expect now in terms of the classes. Beta's got to be right around the corner now, right? Right? And there's just been absolutely zero communication from Amazon about it. And then just out of nowhere, completely blindsiding the entire community, they go, yeah, we're delaying. And you're just like, how did we get to this point? Um, and it's really unfortunate. I'm not thrilled about it. That being said, there are a couple positives to take away from this. I know some of you are thinking, what are you talking about? How can anything be positive about this? Um, and some of this is just my personal perspective on it because, if you're only interested in Lost Ark, then obviously, the positives of this are much smaller. But if you are somebody who likes to play multiple games or things like that, there are multiple positives around this, as well as one key line in this letter from them. So real quickly, we'll go through the letter. We're not going to read this bottom half because this is just like a lot of really basic rhetoric. And they announced that the beta date will be from November 4th to the 9th, just a 5-day beta, which they will have a Discord and forums up for. So that is very good. But a lot of this is just them talking about, like, oh, this is just, things happening, kind of, very basic, standard, rhetoric letter. But there's one line in this opening statement that is important to take from and address because it can actually mean some very good things. So they said, back in June, we held our closed technical alpha test, inviting testers to venture into Arkesia to experience this version of Lost Ark for the first time. Following the technical alpha, we have been working hard in translating walls of text, squashing bugs, spending long hours in the recording studio, and preparing the server infrastructure behind the scenes. While delving into all of the great feedback and data generated by our alpha and reviewing, this is the important thing, and reviewing recent changes to the Korean version that we want to include in our release. That we want to include in our release. Okay. So for a lot of people who don't know, recently, since Amazon even announced that our version was coming to the West, that Lost Ark was coming, since then, Lost Ark has had numerous very big quality of life changes to a lot of the systems in the early game stages of the game that would actually be very impactful and more well received and make the early game process of understanding Lost Ark and gearing in Lost Ark a lot more streamlined and far more accommodating to the Western audience, which would overall make the game more accessible to a larger audience of players, which in the grand scheme of things would be really great. And if they are delaying to get a lot of these systems in to the starting version of our game, then that's great. And I'm willing to wait a couple extra months for that delay. But if those things don't come in, this is just frick. So that's all I can say. I'm trying to look at the one, the one real big positive that this can be for the game. So for those who don't know, currently with there's a couple really big things that in terms of the quality of life. The first one being that right now, in order to PvP in Lost Ark, you have to get to max level. You have to get to level 50, and then you can queue up for PvP. And only then can you ever really get a feel for whether or not you're going to enjoy that class's gameplay, combat, things like that in a competitive environment for PvP. One of the changes is that as early as like level 27, you become able to enter PvP. That's a change that's in Korea right now. You're able to literally just get a character level 27 and you're able to queue up. It normalizes you because for those who don't know, PvP, arena PvP in Lost Ark is normalized. It's equalized. Everybody has the same amount of stat attribute allocation, same skill point allocation. And so it would just put you at level 50 and give you the same stats as everybody else. And so that would be really nice for people wanting to try out multiple classes and not have to go through the grueling, leveling process, which the leveling process is really great the first time through for the story. But after that, it can be a little monotonous. And so doing that over and over on a bunch of characters can be very time consuming and very dragging. But only being able to go to like level 27 and doing it is really nice and is a very nice quality of life adjustment for people being able to test out a lot of classes and get a feel for them without having to get all the way to max level to determine whether or not they're even going to like it. Another big part of it is the enhancing system. The enhancing system goes through a really big overhaul in one of these updates. And so the way it was previously was there were multiple tiers of gearing for enhancing, tiering of materials used for enhancing within each tier of content. And so, for example, 302 plus gear used a specific material for enhancing, 340 plus gear used a specific material for enhancing, and like 380 plus gear used a specific material for enhancing, or 385. What this change is that it happened in Korea that they've done is that all of that gear in that first tier, 302, 340, 385, whatever, all of it will use the same material for its enhancing. So instead of there being 3 different brackets of materials required that you have to farm for in order to do different types of enhancing, they streamline that into it just being one specific type of material that you would use for all tiers of it. So then it would no longer matter which content you're doing in order to acquire the materials that you need for enhancing. And so, and then there's a bunch of other, little quality of life changes that come in, but I found that those two were probably the largest and most impactful. And so if these are things that they are trying to get into our version to start with, because it would be kind of backwards, and frustrating for people if we started with the old enhancing system and then like 1 to 2 months later transferred to the new enhancing system. Let's be honest, everybody would just go, well, why didn't they just start with the new enhancing system? Why did we have to transit? People would complain. People are going to complain no matter what. And so, it makes more sense to just start with that new enhancing process instead of changing to it later after just a couple months, rather than starting with the old one. So, again, if this means that we get to start with all of these changes, fantastic. But it still sucks, right? It still sucks. And there's nothing fun about the delay. There's nothing fun about it at all. And, you know, we really wanted to play it. A lot of people wanted to play it. The only other takeaway that I can think about for positives for people is that, you know, this gives you more time to play other things. You've got New World and Elion coming out in September. You've got Final Fantasy coming out in November. And so now, by it being, you know, early next year, this gives people time to check out these other games and enjoy these other games before getting to go into Lost Ark. You know, it's not so compact with all of these games releasing so close together, all battling for each other's time. This enables people to, you know, get their early stage out of, you know, whatever it is in these other games they want to do, and then they check out Lost Ark, and then they can really determine what game is, you know, what they really want to put their time into. And so, on the bright side, for people who wanted to check out all these other games, this frees up your time a little bit more in order to do so. But it still sucks having the delay. It's not fun. It's really, I want to play it just as much as you guys. I've been waiting for this game for a while myself, but, you know, fortunately, if you do want to play it in the meantime, you are able to play it in other regions. You can play it on Russia. It's very easy to play on the Russian client. A lot of people are doing it right now. A lot of other creators, you've seen some of them who have been checking it out lately. So, you know, if you're interested in that, definitely, you know, take a look at it. We'll put some links in the description below for people to take a look. But yeah, guys, so, I mean, all that stuff, it's just one of those things that's really unfortunate, and I'm looking forward to the game coming. Just in general, I'm just happy that we're getting the game. I am upset that it's delayed, and I'm upset about how the delay came about. You know, hopefully Amazon really does step up their communication, because they need to, and that's all there is to it. They need to do better with this, because they are dropping the ball at the moment. So we'll see how it all plays out. Thank you guys so much for watching. A lot of people, you asked for my thoughts on it. These are my thoughts on it. And if you enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.